Good morning, church. Wasn't that an appropriate hymn before I speak? Wake now my senses. Church, I don't know about you, but I'm just a little bit off this morning. We know about fall back, daylight savings time ends. I'm just a little bit off. It's chilly, and I put on my big coat. First time this season, and I'm feeling a little bit different, So I want you to pray with me and understand that what we're going to talk about today has to do with promises, and that's the covenant. I really enjoy the fact that All Souls introduces a theme for each month. On that first Sunday, the introduction to let people know what's going to be happening the rest of the month. And I'm really glad about that because that gives you an idea of what to expect, but also it opens you to hear what you may already think you know, but maybe there's something else that will nestle in that consciousness of yours. So covenant is a church word, isn't it? We talk about home covenants, there are covenants in the house, but when you say covenant, you think about that love thing, a covenant gives us that agreement. So I want to talk about that, but I also want to put it into a context. You see, the only reason I'm standing here right now is that there was a covenant made between Senior Minister Marlon Lavenhar and me. Way back in 2008, I believe. That's when Bishop Carlton Pearson and New Dimensions landed their mothership right here. And of course, you all know what happened. We don't have to go over history, but people were having to adjust. And Marlon looked around and he said to me, Gerald, I don't have any Black people in leadership over here. And Black people are coming through the doors, looking around, seeing who's here. Would you mind coming over here to All Souls and preaching, teaching, just being around, just having you around? Would you mind doing that? And because Marlon and I are friends, I said to him, brother, of course I will do that. You need me, I'll be here. And a covenant. Oh, you want a clap for that? Thank you. But that was a covenant because we made an agreement that is based upon I'll help you. He is helping me and I am helping him. And then from that came, all the rest of the good that has occurred. But it started out and still is a covenant. That means if either Marlon or me feels that no longer shall I be part of All Souls, we will do that with love. And that is not going to be anything other than love because it's based on love. It started with love. It continues with love. So that's a covenant. A covenant is a promise made in love. Now we know that promises are broken. We know that. And it hurts when they are. That's why it hurts, because it's made in love. But church, if we don't have covenant, if we don't have that agreement that says, I trust you to do the things you said you would do, if we don't have that, then we're not really in relationship. Because relationships are based on trust. And if we don't have it, church, what kind of relationship is that? So it calls us, this covenant thing calls us to be the better part of ourselves. We all know that we can be ugly. We know that. We can be that, But the better part of ourselves is called to be in covenant. And so we're reminded all the time. And so consequently, I'm glad that he asked me to introduce covenant to the church this month. So let me tell you a little bit about how I decided that I'd rather be in covenant than in contract. A while ago, a long while ago, I was in my 30s. I had a midlife crisis church. I was working every day for the state of Oklahoma, but I wasn't feeling that I was going anywhere, right? So I decided to go to law school. Whoa, law school. You know, why did I choose to go to law school? Well, because my brother is an attorney, and I had disappointed him when I graduated from college and I didn't go to law school, which he wanted me to do. He mapped out my whole undergraduate. He says, major in business management, and then go to law school. And then we will set up Davis and Davis. I'll be in Oklahoma City, you'll be in Tulsa, and we'll cover the state. That was the way, you know, when you're 18 years old going off to college and your older brother is telling you what to do, you know, you say, okay, all right, that's what we'll do. But I didn't realize that, you know, on down the line, I would have an idea of what law school meant, and so I did not go. Instead, I was called into ministry. And he kind of was sore about that, but, you know, he said, okay, you know, God is bigger than him, right? So I went to grad school, and you all know that, master's in social work, master's in divinity, and all the rest that comes with that. But then here comes my midlife crisis in my 30s, and I said, I think I'll go back to law school. Well, he was ecstatic. He was so happy. Here I am. So I went to TU, and I went part-time, and I did 2 of the 4 years. I completed 2 of the 4 years before finally saying, I give. This is not me. I'm not going to be a good lawyer. I don't want to do this. But on the first day of law school, on the first day, when all the first-year law students were gathered and the dean stood before us, the dean said, now you will learn the rules. You will learn the rules. You will be in demand because most people don't know the rules. But you will know them, and people will honor you because you know the rules. I remembered that speech because I was a minister at that time. I was a minister. I had gone through divinity school. I had been out there doing good work, I think. And when I heard this man say that, I said, well, he's really kind of off there. The rules? Golly, what is he talking about? Well, what he was talking about was contracts and property and legislation and all those things that go with what we call law, policy. He said, you'll know the rules. So contracts is one of those first classes that you take in law school where you learn the rules. What is a contract? What is a binding agreement? And I did all right in contracts, you know, I didn't fail it, but I wasn't all there. Because I was thinking of covenant. I was saying I would much rather be in covenant with someone than contracted to be with someone. Because I'm going to do the job, you're going to pay me, and then I'm going to go on. But covenant says I'm going to do the best job I can because I really love you. I really respect you. And I'm going to do the best I can because if you were me, you would want me to do the best. You would want me to do the best you could. So the whole idea is we are connected. We are connected. Contracts, you're not really connected, but in covenant, you are connected. So I really understand that if we don't have covenant, we don't have church. We don't. This is not about contract. This is about I promise you. So let's dig into this thing. All right, let's dig into this thing. I love you. How often do we hear those words? Maybe not enough. Okay, you need to hear those words. You need to hear I love you more than not. And I know some of us have been married for a long time. That means something. That means that you know this person well. But sometimes you don't say the words that need to be said. Sometimes you don't surprise that other person with, I love you. That's important, church. To be able to say to another human being that I see you and I like what I see. And more than that, I want to help you be the best you can be. So covenant is all in that promise of I love you. Covenant says a couple of things. It says that within the church community, it says a couple of things. It says that number one, we don't have a church unless we have covenant, okay? But we don't have covenant unless we have love, okay? But we don't have love unless we have experienced something that we did not deserve good happening to us, happened to us because someone else said, I want you to have this. I want you to be part of this thing that I am. So it was a gift, and that's called grace. It was a gift that's given. That's another churchy word that we use, grace. But I'm telling you, those words are important to us, and we got to reclaim those words and bring them back. So talking about bringing them back, the whole idea of church, the Greek word was ecclesia, and we get ecclesiastical, we get the, what that is about church, you get that. Well, ecclesia means called out. And those were the people who understood covenant as opposed to contracts, and they were called out from all that contractual stuff going on. These people were called out because they wanted something deeper, something that would unite, something that would hold us together, something that would connect us. And so they were the called out people, the ecclesia. We are the called out. We're different from all that contractual world. We talk openly about love. We say love is the spirit of this church. Whether you say, I believe in God, I don't believe in God, I know you believe in love. Love is real. And you have felt it, you have given it, you have received it. So we are called out to deal in immersion with this thing called love. Now, church, let's get real about this. Sometimes people don't offer you the opportunity to love. Sometimes people don't want that. They say, oh, I feel uncomfortable with all this hugging and talking about love stuff, I'd rather just do contracts. Okay, you're gonna deal with people like that. And that's understandable because there's more contracts than covenants out here, right? So we know that. We're gonna be dealing with people that don't feel comfortable. But does that mean we stop being loving? No, we just continue to give them space and love them. We're called out to do that. We are called out to do that. I spoke at Yadni Halu's ordination a while back. It seems a while back. It was just last week, wasn't it? Yeah, a lot has happened. So I spoke about this thing. She asked me to do the charge to the congregation. And I was saying to the congregation, all three that were united, that we had this responsibility. And I quoted Mark Morrison Reed, and Mark Morrison Reed is an African-American UU minister and author. And Mark Morrison Reed was talking about the central task of the church. And he said the central task of the church is to unveil the bond that binds each to all. I'll say that again. The central task of the church is to unveil the bond that binds each to all. The bond, unveiling. That means we have it naturally, church. You have love naturally. That love comes from the Spirit that gives us what we need to continue each day. our daily bread, if you will. That love that says there may be people in your life who you know you love, but they may go away for reasons, maybe death, maybe divorce, breakup, maybe a child going off to find their way. All of those things that make us sad. But love doesn't stop holding us together. The person may be gone, but we recognize that when we do our prayer, we say, if you have lost a loved one, stand. Because you're still connected. We are connected to you, and we know the loss feels hard, but we're connected to you, and we're going to feel it too. So you're standing, and maybe later on, somebody might say, would you like some cake? Or how about some coffee? Some nice gesture. And maybe they did that because they saw you standing. They may send you a card that said, I'm just feeling good today and I want to share it. So here's something to make you laugh. Whatever it is, church, it's about the connection. We have a bond. So our job is to unveil it, to let people know we really are connected to one another. I know this thing called race gets in the way. This thing called gender gets in the way. This thing called all the stuff that social constructs say, no, this is different. And different means you can't unite. That's not true. We know that. And we have to live it, church. That's the idea, to unveil, because we are called out. The secrecy is up. We're called out. We're all gathered here. Get ready. Here it comes. Boom. There's the bond that unites us. What is that bond? That bond is love. What is that love? That is the covenant that binds us to each one of us. We're bound together. And frankly, I like that. I like being able to walk. And then people may be saying, I don't like that guy. But I don't feel that. I don't feel that. What I feel is, hey, I'm in a place that loves me, and I love back. Church, I'm telling you, church, you feel good to get on your tiptoes. You feel good here. I want everyone who comes to All Souls to know that when you walk in that place, there's always going to be someone at the door greeting you. You walk in here and that greeter is saying to you, welcome. I love that sign. Everyone only. Welcome, everyone only. That's the sign we have out there. I got rode up here one time in a Lyft car, the shared riding thing, and the person was looking and said, what kind of church is this? I said, this is a Unitarian Universalist church, brother. He said, that sign right there. I said, yeah, how about that sign? Everyone, welcome everyone. How does it go?
Serve everyone only.
Yeah.
Serve everyone only.
You know that? Everyone only. And he loved that. And he said, well, when are the services? He was trying to come up with something different, Do y'all meet on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Tuesday, No, man, Sunday, 10 o'clock, 3 services. I gave him all I gave him all that. I don't know if he ever came back. I don't know if he did, but he was so excited to hear about a church. Now, church, that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad because he did not know that at this place, everyone is welcome. Maybe at the church he knew he had some bad experiences, but they weren't understanding that we have a bond, a covenant. It's called love. And we're upfront about it, which I really love. That's good. Okay, let me move on, because what that means is we have a responsibility. And that's what covenants do. Covenants tell us you can't just get by. You can't skate by. You see something that needs to be affirmed or corrected or insured, however it is. You see something, you can't just walk by because you made a promise to all of us. We have a bond that keeps us together, right? And so you made a promise. So you got to be nosy, church. You got to say, yeah. I know that's in this society, you know, there are names for people who inquire, you know, we know that. But I mean, it's important for you to ask the question, what's going on? How you doing? I noticed this. Is that okay? You all right? And feel free to do that because you have a bond. You have a covenant. That person may not know it's been unveiled, but you are connected to them. So church, here's the thing that I want, and I know I can go on this. I get excited about it. And see, I'm already feeling better. Remember I told you I was a little, and part of that is love, that you gave me that love and you made me feel good, okay, so I will. All right. Here's the thing. Here's for all of you lawyers out there. Here's the, you say all that lovey stuff, but here's the thing. This is it. Once we recognize that we are interdependent, that we are connected, that we have a bond each to all, once we recognize that, then something magical happens. It's called community. It's called community. It's called, I want to see so-and-so. I greeted a person, I won't embarrass the person, but I greeted a person walking in. I hadn't seen that person in a long time. And I said, where you been? The person didn't tell me where they had been, but I let that person know I really miss you. And I did. And we have a place called All Souls where you can do that. You can be nosy. Where you been? What you doing? We can do that because we have a bond. All right? We have a bond that ties us all. But this is what Mark Morrison Reed went on to say, for all you lawyers out there. He said, okay, we have a bond because it's an essential thing. Building community is an essential thing that we do here in the church. This is how we do it. And he says it's essential because if you're working by yourself, you're a single payer. You're one. That's me. I'm all about me, right? You're one right there. If you're doing that, you will discover, Mark Morrison Reed said, that your sight is narrow to be able to see all you need to see. It's too narrow by yourself. And he said, and your strength is limited, so you can't do all you can do. So Mark Morrison Reed reminds us, you may be so low, you may be saying, I don't need church. I can, God loves me. I love God. If there is a God, I don't care. But the bottom line, I'm not going over there to those people. And so they're sitting down and not being a part of the bond that is there. But maybe something happens that they recognize that I need these people. I want them to know who I am. And once that happens, you're no longer alone. Because together, the vision widens and the strength is renewed. That's what Mark Morrison Reed wrote in his central task of the church. Why we have to be in community. Why we have to have covenant to keep us in community. Church, it's really real. When you start going into your heart and opening your heart to others, you don't want to go back to the contract days. You want to be able to say, I feel you, right? You want to be able to see, I see you. And a blind person can say that too, by the way. Because I do. I see you. I see you. So that is important for you to be able to do that. Community is huge. It is huge. That is what we're about. And I'll tell this story and I'll sit down. But I was invited to speak to a singles group. And I called a rabbi friend of mine because I said, Rabbi, tell me in the Hebrew scriptures where it is okay to be single. And he said, Gerald, there is none. I said, wait a minute, come on now. I was single at the time. It's all right to be single. He said, I didn't say that. You asked me to tell you in the Hebrew scriptures where it's okay to be single. He said, yeah, it's okay to be single, but the Hebrew scriptures don't want that. The Hebrew scriptures tell us to be in community. Over and over again, the scripture is telling us to be united with others. And that's what it is. It's okay to be single, of course it is, but you can be in community. You can be in community, church. You hear what I'm saying? And if you're in community, you're in covenant. And if you're in covenant, you're not alone. And if you're in covenant, your vision is wide. And if you're in covenant, your strength is renewed. Church, let this be something that you take home with you. Covenant means love. Amen? Amen.
We're so happy you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed
and be a blessing.